Hey everyone, and welcome back to MetaCast.
Mm,
I'm John, and today we are diving deep into the world of Dragon Ball.
nice.
Joining me is, well, she's our anime expert, Maya.
Hey, everyone. Glad to be here.
We got this really fascinating article from the Spanish language site Tomatazos about the new Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima.
Okay.
And it seems like everyone's loving it.
Yeah, the article's title even translates to Everyone Loves Goku. Dragon Ball Daima triumphs in a big way on Netflix with spectacular viewing figures.
Yeah, it's pretty catchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the article, it really captures the excitement around the show. It's a global hit. It's apparently even outperforming some other popular anime.
Yeah, which is no small feat when you think about just the weight of the Dragon Ball legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, this franchise has been around for decades, building this massive, dedicated fan base. Think about Dragon Ball Z, for example. That series pretty much defined a generation of anime fans, and Daima picks up after those events, adding to that rich history.
So we're talking new stories, but with the same characters and world that fans love. And here's where it gets really interesting. The article mentions that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, was heavily involved in the production of Daima before his passing in March of this year.
Yeah, that's a huge point. I think Toriyama's involvement likely gave a lot of fans confidence that this new series would stay true to the spirit of the original.
Right.
It's like a seal of approval, especially for longtime fans who might be hesitant about a new series.
Definitely. Speaking of the new series, the article gives us a glimpse of what Daima is all about. Apparently, Goku and his friends are turned into mini versions of themselves
What?
because of a wish on the Dragon Balls.
Wow.
Talk about a curveball.
Right. That's such a classic Dragon Ball setup, though. Blending humor and action, I can already imagine the comedic potential of these miniature warriors facing off against these powerful enemies.
Oh, yeah.
And the article actually praises the way Daima blends the classic Dragon Ball style with these modern animation techniques.
The article mentions that Daima hit #2 on Netflix's non-English shows list. It racked up an impressive 3.2 million views in just 1 week.
Which is incredible, especially considering only 2 episodes were available at the time.
Right.
To put that into perspective, the article highlights how Daima even surpassed other popular anime like Dandadan and Ranma 12, at least in terms of those early viewing figures.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah.
And it's not just a global phenomenon. The article emphasizes Daima's success in Latin America, particularly in Mexico, where it reached Netflix's top 10.
And that makes perfect sense when you consider Dragon Ball's history in Latin America. I mean, it's been a cultural phenomenon there for decades. So a new series was bound to resonate with audiences. This kind of deep-rooted popularity gave Daima a significant head start.
It's almost like a shared cultural experience passed down through generations. But I'm curious what makes Dragon Ball so popular in Latin America. Is it the action, the humor, the characters, or is it something more?
It's a combination of factors, really. Dragon Ball has this amazing ability to connect with people on different levels. The action is definitely a huge draw. Those epic battles, the transformations, the sheer power on display,
Right.
it's thrilling to watch. But there's also a lot of heart to this story. The themes of friendship, perseverance, and overcoming challenges. They resonate deeply, especially with younger audiences.
And let's not forget the humor.
Oh, totally.
Dragon Ball can be surprisingly funny, and that blend of action, heart, and comedy. It's a winning formula.
It is.
So it seems like Daima is tapping into that same magic, but with a fresh twist.
Exactly. The article highlights how viewers are loving the animation. It seems the studio has found a way to capture the essence of that classic Dragon Ball aesthetic while also incorporating modern techniques.
Yeah.
I'm picturing vibrant colors, fluid movements, and those dynamic fight scenes that Dragon Ball is known for, but with a contemporary flair.
And they've got this intriguing mini Goku concept to play with.
Right.
The article doesn't delve too deep into how that impacts the story, but I'm really curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Imagine the world's strongest warrior suddenly shrunk down to pocket size. What happens to his power? How does he fight? It opens up so many possibilities, both comedic and dramatic.
It's a clever way to shake things up while still staying true to the core elements of the franchise. And thinking about it from a storytelling perspective, this mini Goku concept could add a whole new layer of vulnerability to the character. He's not this invincible force anymore. He has to rely on his wit and his friends even more.
That's a really interesting point. It makes me think about the impact this could have on the power dynamics within the group. Maybe characters who were usually in Goku's shadow get a chance to shine. And of course, there's the comedic potential of seeing these mini warriors struggling with everyday tasks.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they've taken this iconic character and turned him into an underdog.
Right. And that underdog story is something that audiences really connect with. It's relatable no matter your age or background.
It's interesting how Daima is playing with these familiar tropes while also offering something new. Speaking of new, let's talk about the impact of streaming platforms like Netflix.
Okay.
They've made anime so much more accessible to a global audience. It wasn't that long ago that you had to track down obscure VHS tapes or DVDs to watch your favorite shows.
And even then, you were limited to whatever was available in your region. Now, with just a few clicks, you can access a huge library of anime from all over the world. Dragon Ball Daima, for example, was available to millions of viewers simultaneously the moment it premiered. That kind of reach was unimaginable even a decade ago.
It's a game changer for sure. But what does this mean for the future of anime? Do you think we'll see even more reboots and revivals of classic franchises?
I think it's a trend that's here to stay. There's a huge appetite for nostalgia, and studios are realizing the potential of tapping into these existing fan bases. But as we've been discussing, it's not just about bringing back familiar faces. Successful reboots like Daima offer something new, a fresh take on a beloved story. They understand that nostalgia alone isn't enough. You need to innovate to push the boundaries of storytelling and animation.
So it's about finding that balance between honoring the past and looking towards the future.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole phenomenon so fascinating to watch. It's not just about entertainment, it's about how we engage with our cultural history, how we reinterpret it for new generations. Dragon Ball Daima is a perfect example of this. It's taking a story that's been told and retold for decades and finding new ways to make it relevant, exciting, and engaging for today's audiences.
And speaking of engaging audiences, the article also highlights Daima's success in Latin America, particularly in Mexico. It seems like the show's popularity isn't limited to just one region. It's a global phenomenon. But what about the other Latin American countries? The article mentions that Dragon Ball Daima is actually performing really well across several Latin American countries, not just Mexico.
Yeah, that's a great point. It really highlights how deeply ingrained Dragon Ball is in Latin American culture. I mean, this franchise has been a beloved part of childhoods for generations, so a new series was bound to resonate strongly with audiences there.
It's like this collective memory, a shared experience that transcends borders. And it's fascinating to see how Dragon Ball Daima is tapping into that nostalgia while also introducing new elements to keep things fresh.
Yeah, it's a clever strategy and clearly a successful one. By blending the familiar with the new, the creators have managed to appeal to both longtime fans and a whole new generation of viewers. And that's perhaps one of the biggest takeaways from Daima's success. It shows that reboots and revivals can work, but they need to be done with care, respect for the source material, and a willingness to innovate.
It's not just about cashing in on nostalgia. It's about finding a way to make these beloved stories resonate with a modern audience while also introducing them to a new generation.
Yeah.
And Dragon Ball Daima seems to be doing just that.
Absolutely. It's breathing new life into a classic franchise while staying true to its core values, and that's something worth celebrating.
Well, Maya, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of Dragon Ball Daima. It's
Yeah.
clear this show is a global phenomenon, and it's been fascinating to explore the reasons behind its success.
I agree. It's a testament to the enduring power of storytelling, the global reach of streaming platforms, and the enduring appeal of a franchise like Dragon Ball.
And for our listeners, we'll leave you with this thought. What other beloved franchises could find new life in this era of reboots and revivals? What stories from your childhood would you like to see reimagined for today's audiences? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.